folks, we are back. I'm Skip Huffy, your co-host today, along with Don Ewing, also of GraniteGrok, and we are sitting down with Duane Lester. Duane, unfortunately I've forgotten the name of the blog, but you are a recent Breitbart Award winner that was given to you by the Heritage Foundation and the Franklin Center for Journalism and Public Policy.
Right.
Once again, congratulations.
Thank you. It was All-American Blogger. It was All-American Blogger that won the award, but I'm also the editor of LibertyNews.com also.
Okay, and that's why I remembered that there were a couple of blogs there. Unfortunately, as I seem to get grayer, the memory seems to go faster. So it's just one of those deals. But anyways, you're down here at the Americans for Prosperity's Defending the American Dream Summit here in Washington, D.C. You stroll by, I recognize you from meeting you in Providence, and decided you were sort of bemoaning in sort of a joking way that some of us have media on the bottom of our tags, and you said, well, I'm just a blogger.
I'm just a blogger, you know, we're just, we're the pawns and peons of the media world. Just the...
Well, oftentimes we have been considered that. I started blogging back in 2005, and I remember, the journalists not liking me too much.
Right. The untouchable peasants that you don't belong in the same building as us. Please move along, and that's fine. And it really stems from the dressing down Michelle Malkin gave Juan Williams on Fox News when she, won. And basically said, you're just a blogger and I'm a real journalist. Well, real journalists sit on stories. They don't tell the whole truth. Real journalists don't have any problem carrying water for the Obama administration or furthering the liberal agenda. Real journalists, today anyway, by Juan Williams' standards, will sit on a tape that shows Obama praising Rashid Khalidi like the LA Times has done since 2008. Real journalists will bemoan a Daily Caller reporter for asking a question at a Rose Garden press conference, but have no problem screaming questions at Mitt Romney at a sacred ground in Poland, and then lambaste Mitt Romney for not answering them. So if they want to be real journalists, fine, I'll be just a blogger, because I don't mind hammering a Republican if they do something stupid or if they stand for something I don't believe in. Just because they have an R after their name doesn't give them carte blanche to do whatever they want. If they're not following what they should be following, I'm going to call them out for it, because my agenda isn't an agenda to promote liberalism or a party. I don't support the Republican Party. I support liberty and freedom. If they're working against that, I don't have any problem calling them out on it. So I'll be just a blogger. That's fine.
Yeah, we have a tag that we'll use, journalism-not. And whenever a journalist says something, I always go back to the New York Times reporter, Jason Blair.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Levels and levels of editors and checkers and all that other stuff. How did that guy slip past you? For how long? An affirmative action type response to some degree, but more indicative of journalism as a whole. But yeah, I remember once being on McCain's bus during his presidential run, and I remember my co-blogger Doug Lambert and I were allowed to go on. A friend of ours, Patrick Hines, got us onto the bus because he was doing the digital blogger outreach for the McCain campaign. And I remember seeing all of these high-level, top-level journalists. And McCain finally comes back on the bus and he looks at them, and we knew our place, quote-unquote. So he said, okay, anybody got any questions? And there was a half-hearted question from the LA Times. And that was it. So Doug and I looked at each other and said, great. We got questions, and we kept him busy for the next 45 minutes talking about all kinds of different subjects. And it shows that bloggers have one thing that a lot of journalists don't have, is passion. Because we don't, well, you're one of the few people I know that's actually a professional blogger. Kudos.
I'm still not used to that.
No, it's not. I mean, all of us at GraniteGrok we do this in our spare time. We do it for one reason only, and that help protect and advance individual liberty and freedom. So, all this stuff here is just to support that purpose. but still there's that passion that a lot of bloggers have, dedicated bloggers who will do more than just write a post a week. They're bloggers and they want to say something, and I'm glad that they're saying it. But I'm talking about people who do at least daily posts or multiple posts during the day, following a story. They do it because they have the passion, not just because they're paid to do it.
Right. When you look at, and just to tell you my story a bit, when I started doing the blog, when I started All American Blogger, I was working a 12-hour-a-day job. I was actually working nuclear security. So I would get up at 4 in the morning.
We'll have to talk about why 12.
I would be on the road by 4:30 at work. I had a 45-minute to an hour commute. So then I'd get to work about 5:20, and then I'd work until about 6 o'clock that evening, and then I'd get an hour drive home. So I'd get home about 7. First thing I'd do is walk in the house, if I hadn't already called ahead, and I'd start a pot of coffee. At 7 o'clock at night, I'd start drinking a pot of coffee because I knew that I was going to be tired, and I knew that if I didn't have that energy, I wouldn't be able to go ahead and produce content for my website that I needed. You don't see that kind of passion, like you were talking about, for finding that story a lot in journalism anymore. There's not that dedication to go that extra mile and find that story. At least I don't see it. Because if the true mission were just telling the story, you wouldn't have the LA Times sitting on that video all this time. That video would have been released. Why wouldn't they release it? There is absolutely no reason other than political agenda for them not to release that video. This is the President of the United States at a dinner where supposedly we're left to speculate him praising a former PLO activist. Why would they not release that if their whole mission were to just give the people the information?
And I can give you the answer to that. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I remember watching the first Washington Press Corps dinner. I'm not sure the exact name, but basically it's all of the White House Press Corps put on a dinner, and in Obama's first iteration of that, he stood up and said, most of you covered this. Big round of applause by the journalist. And when it died down, he smiled and said, all of them voted and standing wrong.
Yep.
That, 30 seconds, encapsulates exactly what you're saying and why they're doing it. When you look at all of the, when newsrooms have been polled, they all go to the left. When you look at places like Open Secrets, and you look at the donations, 97% go to the Democrats. They claim to be objective,
and that's why you see. That's why you see. I think it's only 20% of Americans trust the mainstream media anymore. There's just no trust there because everybody can see this bias. Everyone can see it.
Absolutely. Don, you've got something? Or just listening in?
Mostly just listening, but this isn't new. They haven't. There's stuff they didn't cover about Kerry. There's stuff they didn't cover about Clinton. It's just incredible what they have not covered about Obama. We don't know anything about Obama.
And the stuff that is uncovered is usually by someone like Breitbart, and then the media will instantly dismiss it or claim it as just nonsense or some sort of hoax or some sort of fringe agenda.
Until finally the bloggers bite them in the butt. And I think the first time it really happened and made national impact was Rather Dan,
Right.
which is for our listeners where Dan Rather, that esteemed former CBS, right? CBS.
Yep. He was CBS News.
Anchorman, made up and came up with the phrase false but accurate.
Right.
Which basically was all the paperwork having to do with former President Bush II as far as doing malfeasance and presenting the documents, and then some obscure person. You know, you gotta love the blogosphere. There has to be at least one expert out there, millions of people who are online, who are the absolute expert, absolutely the tiniest little bit. And he noticed that the typography on the paper did not match everything that should have been the way it was back in the day that the paper was supposed to have been created. And they kept on doing it, and it started filtering through all the blogs at the time, and finally it rose into the mainstream media. And now we see, gosh, where is he? On Al Gore's station. Isn't he kind of relegated to obsolescence? Still thinking he's number one.
Yeah, it's a sad statement, but it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. When you look, I read something just recently that 86% of the reports about Mitt Romney's trip overseas, 86% of them focused on the negative things.
Correct.
86%. That is ridiculous. And he didn't make missteps the way they're saying him. They're taking what he did and reframing it in a way to make him look bad. It is so overt. It is almost a lie. Well, it is a lie for them to come out and say that they are impartial.
GrokTV.